Hi, Northern Sky fans. Thanks for joining us. I have a very special guest that I'm interviewing today, Cyndy Stiehl. Hi, Cyndy.
Hi, Jeff. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. So, Cyndy, here we are. Both of us happen to be this time around in Door County, but we are still doing a Zoom interview. And I know. And we could have social distance. I thought about this morning. It was interesting to me. People are now getting together more than they had been because we're all lonely, for starters, right? So we need some companionship.
Yes.
And I thought, well, Cyndy and I could sit outside on her deck and have this interview. But in some ways, I thought, part of the reason we're doing these interviews this way and sharing them with our fans is because this is a chance for us to connect during a very unusual time. And this is going to be put in our time capsule in some way. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I think it's sort of interesting that we're doing this kind of remotely because it will reflect back on what we hope will be a very bizarre and we hope not long-lived time, although already it's too long-lived.
It's long-lived, yes. And I think we can learn a lot from doing what we're doing today and apply it to tomorrow. I really think that this is the huge creative possibility here. Well,
sure, yeah. The technology has certainly needed to keep speed with everything that we want to do creatively. There's no question about that. So, Cyndy, for starters, please tell everyone what your role with Northern Sky currently is.
I have the huge honor of being chair of the board of Northern Sky Theatre, and it kind of makes me teary a little bit.
Well, that's fantastic. So yes, and that's a newly acquired position for you, is it not?
Yes, on April 1, everybody just sort of said, "Welcome to your new job." And it was as it was on April 1, and everyone has persevered, really.
And before that, before you became chair of the board, tell everybody what your role with Northern Sky has been historically.
Yes, historically. Well, for 23 years, I was vice chair of the board, and Mary Seberg was chair of the board for all those years. Oh my goodness!
You couldn't quite bump her off, could you?
Well, and neither did I want to. I've never seen a board chair as engaged and involved and as consistently helpful as her.
How did you get asked to be on the board? Do you remember?
Well, I remember Fred calling me and asking if I would meet with him and Mary Seberg, which we did at the farm that was owned then by Fred. He wanted to create a board. Yeah. And he said one of the first people he thought of, and again, another honor, was me, and asked if I would do that and if I would serve on the board. And I said I would be happy to. I said yes right away. I can't imagine that I would have taken any space or time whatsoever. I said right away, and yes, right away. And I think this was the first time that I'd met Mary Seberg, but was already impressed with how she understood the organization and was supportive with Fred. And we walked in the garden and ate warm raspberries off the raspberry plants.
Yeah, and boy.
Right, sun-warmed. Oh, I'll never forget that.
Yeah, that was yes. Fred's dad, George, put those raspberry bushes in.
Yeah, it was a wonderful moment. And and I haven't looked back. I've never, ever thought about leaving the board. So it's like a marriage.
It's like a marriage, a good marriage.
Yes, exactly.
And, I'm thrilled as artistic director of the company to have you as the new chair of the board, Cyndy. It's an honor for me as well. Wow. So before that, tell me, if you can, what your first engagement was with Northern Sky or Heritage Ensemble, or how far back do you go, Cyndy?
I believe the Heritage Ensemble began in 1970. Yep. Is that correct? So did I. Yes. I attended that first year. Yes.
No kidding.
And the second year. And at some point there was a cassette tape made that was absolutely dreadful quality, but I had almost every song memorized on that tape.
It's
because
something,
I
isn't
would
it?
play it, and I would play the tape, and then I'd try to pick out the guitar chords and sing with it.
Now, Cyndy, I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this probably know because you've been a Door County artist for a long time. Tell people what your training is.
Yes, I'm a classically trained mezzo-soprano, and I've spent my life singing as an opera singer, except that I don't do opera because what became a love of my life is art song. And an art song, of course, is a beautiful melody set to a beautiful accompaniment, but so is a folk song. So I think of art songs and folk songs in very similar light. It's just you perform them a little bit differently. They're set a bit differently, but singing art songs has been an absolute joy for me. And I got my start, of course, singing folk songs in the early 60s with the folk song revival. So
Uh-huh.
just that little intimate moment of the poem and the accompaniment with the audience is something that's just very special. And that happens whether it's an art song or a folk song.
Oh, so Cyndy, there's this new thing that's happening out on the stage. I don't know if you've seen it online, but it's hashtag There's No Place Like Northern Sky. And we have fans and company members who are going out to the stage, even though there's no performance going on out there, and they're going onto the stage and they're singing a song. I would love it if that's something that you would consider doing.
Well, thank you for asking. And I have considered doing that, and I intend to. I've even picked the song.
Oh, fantastic. I can't wait to hear it.
Thank you. I can't wait to do it.
You know, I think that most people who would be watching this know that we have a new theater that was built. And what is your take on Northern Sky's new home?
The Gould Theatre. Wow. It's wow. 248 seats. It's partly it's a miracle. Okay.
Yeah.
That coming from 50 years ago and Heritage Ensemble to now having this state-of-the-art theater, which is the perfect size for us, the perfect size for the county, you know, the perfect size for the kinds of work that Northern Sky presents. And it's gorgeous, thanks to the people who've been building it and making all the choices. It's gorgeous to look at. You walk in the place, and not only is there this awestruck feeling that just because of the beautiful open lobby, but then you walk into the Gould Theatre and it's just so beautiful. And so it enhances everything that happens on stage.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's a fun place to go. It's got a good vibe. It's got a really good vibe.
Yes. Oh, yes. I can hardly
Yeah.
wait till we can be there and gather again. And it will happen. It will.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Of course it will. So, what are some of the things that you enjoy about what Northern Sky's mission is? We obviously have a different kind of a mission from a lot of theater companies, and you know, you've been involved with the organization long enough that you understand the mission. And what is it that you think Northern Sky offers that other organizations don't?
Oh, well, one of the biggest things is entertainment that is suitable for families. And I think that's incredibly important. And so often in the board meetings, when we're talking about a new play or a play that's just opened, we're talking about the generations of people that we see there. You know, we can see families of 4 generations coming together. And here's the coolest thing about Northern Sky Theater because of that, okay, or related to that, is nobody questions whether or not they should bring their family. So because of that, we get people who don't know anything about the new play. They know nothing about it, but it's Northern Sky, and they know that the whole family will enjoy it. So they just come. They just come.
That's interesting.
Now, a lot of theaters can't get off the ground unless it's an already known piece. Okay,
Right.
already known play. Northern Sky thrives on new works. And the reason we're successful with new works is because people trust us. That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, That's interesting. That's interesting. I hadn't really thought about that trust issue just on precedent alone. You know, that people say we know that we're going to have a good time and it's going to be okay.
Yes, it'll be okay.
It'll be okay. Yeah. So, what? One final question for you, Cyndy. What is it about Northern Sky that you like the most?
What do I like the most? I'm not going to say one thing. Okay.
Okay.
What do I like the most? First of all, I love walking into the park. I love it's like a preamble, which is a pun, forgive me, but a preamble or a prelude to the beautiful thing that I'm going to witness on stage. Okay. Walking. I love leaving the park after a show, because what happens is I walk with the group of people, you know, who all happen to be walking back to their cars just like I am. And they're all recounting their funniest lines. So I get people practically tripping on their own feet because they get caught up with the convulsive laughter that they're feeling with the memory of what they just saw on stage. Okay. The elegance and the beauty of the Gould is, you know, it's difficult for me always to describe beauty, but there is an inherent specialness about that building. But now the board. So I'm chair of the board. I need to talk about the board. It is the most fun board I've ever been on. And I've been on a lot of boards, and I wouldn't have stayed for 23 years on a single board if it hadn't been an absolute blast. And the reason it's a blast, and it's just so easy to define this, is because the creative staff makes it so much fun. And we feel part of the creativity that goes on because we're supportive in the effort. And there's such pride with what happens there.
That's really great. That's fantastic, Cyndy. And you know, you're right. The board meetings, a lot of people, I think, dread board meetings in organizations. And I think everybody in our organization sort of looks forward to them. It's a chance to catch up, and it's a chance to you know, just to be thankful in a lot of ways for our opportunities to create together. And that's what it feels like. There is a real collaboration between the management of this organization and the board of directors. And I don't know that that's always true in organizations. You know, I think there can be a separation that can get organizations in trouble sometimes. And in this case, there's such a trust. Again, you know, it's that word trust. And I feel like it's mutual between the board and the management side, that everybody feels like we're all in it together. And it makes everything so much easier, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. Oh, it makes everything so much easier. You know, everybody is still collaborating, you know, with the board trying to support the artistic staff in every possible way. And look what's happening as a result of it. And here's a cool thing that always happens at board meetings, especially after new plays open. The next board meeting, everybody comes in. We're all talking about the new play. We're all recounting the lines that we thought were the funniest or our favorite songs and having a ball doing that. Well, we're doing the same things now with the online choices that you're giving us, because they're fun and they're funny and they're human. And again, doing what we always do, which is bring people together. And that's why there's still a blast, even though we're on Zoom.
Yeah. Thank goodness. Thank goodness we're all kind of able to adapt and still find our creative selves in the strangeness.
Wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Cyndy, it's always a delight and pleasure to chat with you. And we at Northern Sky just can't thank you enough for your service, for being such a huge fan, and also for singing with us, because that's the most special thing of all.
Thank you. Love you, Peter. Take care.
Yeah. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.